What's going on? Thanks for joining me yet again, guys. Today we finally install the Charge and Discharge pipes. So just want to mention this video is sponsored by Modded Euros and DFG Tuning. They've been kind enough to send this stuff over, and I wanted to send them a special thank you. So thank you to both of you guys. Specifically, Sean at Modded Euros, because he was sort of my connection to DFG Tuning, and he allowed me to review this for you guys. I know these things came at no cost to me, but first impressions, guys, are pretty strong. These things are made out of aluminum tubing, and they're also powder heat coated, so you know that these guys are never going to overheat, expand, or bend. Now, if you take a look over here, check out these welds before the powder coating. They look solid, they're close. Sure if you guys can tell there. And take a look in there, guys. Smooth as a baby's bottom. So really excited to install these. Now I do have a video coming up on a couple other things that are going on with my car, so I'm gonna be testing these out on a map 0. So what does that mean? That means that any of you guys that have a stock vehicle that want to still throw these on, you won't get any check engine light codes or anything like that. It'll just help it breathe a little bit better. Most of the power that you gain from this, from my understanding, is upwards in the higher boost levels, but it will increase the airflow in the vehicle, allowing it to breathe better. So without further ado, let's get to installing these. Now you probably noticed that I am in my favorite place to be, which is the driveway. Now it looks pretty darn cloudy outside. You might not see it because of how I have this set up, but check that out. It's pretty cloudy outside, guys. So I'm gonna have the brightness all the way up so that you guys can see me a little bit better, and maybe you can see the engine a little bit better. Now it's looking pretty darn cool now, but you won't be able to see the charge pipes really when they're installed, but I know they're there and I know it's breathing better. So first things first, I'm going to get rid of this intake for now. I'm gonna pull it out. If you have a stock intake, it's simple. Remove a clamp, pop out the entire unit. I watched an ECS tuning video where they installed it with the battery taken out. I prefer not to do that, so I'm gonna follow the instructions from DFG Tuning. And DFG Tuning is actually really cool. They actually provide all these instructions, and they give you an individual instructions that you can follow with an URL at the bottom, depending on what you ordered. It's pretty cool. We got a nice little sticker and also a zip tie. Not sure what this is for yet, but I'm sure the instructions will tell me. I am going to wear my gloves for this, not because I am scared of getting dirty, but because it is kind of cold outside, and cold hands are no good for car parts. Just going to take off this intake here. I'm going to take off this one flathead back here. Now this engine intake is growing old on me. I think it's time to get a new one. The first thing you're going to want to do is crack this bolt down here loose, right here. And it's going to take a 7mm, and it has to be small enough, pretty much like this. It's got to be pretty small that I can fit in here without having to move the battery. And that would be the only bolt I would say you would need to remove the battery for, or some people will opt into removing the battery. But so long as you have something this small, you can take care of that, no problem. So let me do that first, and we'll come back. Next step to this is going to be to remove this T30 screw, just so that you can gain access to actually wiggling this around to take it out of the back clamp over there. So let's do that really quickly. Now this rubber might be seized here, so you might need to pry it out a little bit like this. Now that that's removed, we can start going down towards the side over here and removing any clamp that's attached to this. Now once you finish all of that up top, you're going to move down below underneath the car, and you're going to remove the belly pan from underneath. Pan's going to have a few bolts under here. They're all T20s, so just go around and take them off. Alright guys, so we're now underneath the car. If you can sort of picture exactly what I'm doing here, there are these hoses that are attached to here and also blocking the way for me taking this off. So we're gonna unclip this guy here. So this thing could be a little tricky to figure out. but essentially there's a little hole there. Let's see if I can bring this light up here. There's that little hole there. All you have to do is poke something through it, and then this thing should just kind of pull out afterwards. Now when you do that, you should gain access to the top bolt on this if you move this enough out the way. It's right in there. And you need to remove that other T30 back there. You need to remove that other T30 in order to get the charge pipe out. Once you've removed that second T30 and you've completely loosened up every single harness or hose that's attached to this, you're going to proceed to removing the clamp hoses for the intercooler. So let's get that done really quickly because we're going to get new ones installed in here in just a second. And I should be able to just loosen it up with the flathead and get this out of the way as well. That should be loose enough to come out of the intercooler piping. There we go. That's out of the way. Now all we have to do is just kind of wiggle this out or work this out of the top, and then we can start on our throttle pipe. Now it's a pain in the butt to take out, but once it's out, you know you'll never have to do it again. And this is what I was talking about when I said better airflow. Now you see how this one starts off at a good size, and then it sort of just tapers down in a weird way towards the back end. Well, with the powder coated DFG tuning one, you don't. You know, it starts out exactly the same way, same wide bore, but it just continues the entire way around until the clamps. And these things are direct replacements, so you don't need to attach any brackets, anything like that. Everything's welded right on. And this is the reason why I actually like these better than the ECS tuning ones, because the ECS tuning ones you actually have to attach extra brackets. So yeah, so let's remove the throttle pipe and wrap this up and get to the actual install, because this is taking me a while. Let's get back down here and now do the throttle pipes. So for the throttle pipe, you actually have to remove the two couplers. One here, one here. This is actually better positioned because the flathead screwdriver was right in front. You don't need to hit it from any weird angles. Wink, wink. So once this is removed, then I can get to the top over here. And it's a little difficult to kind of show. But underneath there, if you follow the throttle pipe right on that side, there's another clamp at the very top. That's going to be pretty darn difficult to remove. And then also this map sensor over here, you're going to have to unplug to remove this throttle pipe from the top. But once that throttle pipe coupler at the top is removed, then I should be able to slide down the throttle pipe and then sort of bolt it back on once I've moved the map sensor. Actually, there is one more bolt that's holding this together, and if you look over here, it's actually in a very uncomfortable area. So you actually have to use an extension from the top of the sensor, the map sensor here, and run it all the way across and try to get this to work. So I'm going to do that real quick, loosen that up. It's another T30. Just for the record, guys, when doing this, don't get discouraged. This throttle pipe was the hardest thing to take out of the car. For some reason, like, the coupler had seized, and I don't know what was going on, but it was really hard to pull, really awkward angle. So make sure you take off the two T30 Torx, loosen those up. Make sure you use your Schraubing tool, whatnot, whatever you have, to remove the connector for this. If you have JB4, remember, please be a little careful. Because there are extra wires sort of hanging around there that shouldn't be there. So I'm going to take off the map sensor right now, move it on to the new throttle pipe, and then we'll get started on installing these back on the car. So the next step on the charge pipe is pretty much to, once you've done the map sensor here and you've moved that around, you want to put the block off plate that's supplied in the kit. So that's going to block off meth. If you have meth injection, then just go ahead and plug it right into the charge pipe here. So we're going to go down underneath. I have to show you one little step that's very important when installing these, because you won't use the original hardware on the charge pipe. You will use some of the grommets on the discharge pipe though. So in the kit, you'll receive a little bag like this. The bolt you want to use now is the one with the Phillips head over here. So that's what we're going to do in step number 17, according to DFG. So let's go down below. Let's do this. So that's where you want to put that screw. See it? It's going to be to the right of the alternator, not in the first bolt. Not in the first hole, sorry, in the second hole on this side and the bottom one. So that's where you want that to be, so that way the throttle pipe can adjust or line up correctly and we can bolt it down. So let's put on the coupler up top, all the way at the top, and then we'll come back down here and install the rest of the throttle pipe. And just a quick note, guys, if you start to struggle with the throttle pipe, just relax, step back. I know it can get really frustrating because I just did, trying to push that up to where it's supposed to go. So now I have fully installed the throttle pipe 100%, with the exception of just the coupling that goes into the intercooler. So that's the only thing that I need to put on. Otherwise, the rest of it is on. The hardest part for me was definitely getting the coupler to line up to the throttle body at the top because of the angle. Now DFG does say to remove the throttle cable, or this thing in front of the throttle body. I'm not sure, throttle connector or something. I'll put the name up here of what the actual term is, but they said to remove that to give you a little bit more wiggle room. While that does help a little bit, it's still pretty tight. So you either need to have small hands like I do, or friends. Aww. So now onto the discharge pipe, and then I'll install both intercooler hoses. We'll put the belly pan back together and we should be good. ECS Tuning actually does a video in which they're installing charge pipes as well, but their own. And there's a good tip to actually use a lubricant to sort of push that throttle body piece in there. So maybe I should have done that. Maybe I should learn from other people's mistakes, but I like to make them myself. Alright, this hair was much nicer earlier, before I started doing this. Now it's just a mess. Not that my hair is any nice, but whatever. So now we're going to come back up to the top. I'm going to get the throttle pipe connected to this coupling back here, and we'll run it down to the bottom, and I'll show you how to add all the grommets. Alright guys, so from the original pipes, we're going to need these things here. So all you have to do is just pretty much jam something underneath there and just pop them out. You should be able to take them out like this. And there's a grommet inside. All you have to do is push through. So make sure you take both of these out, because you're going to need them. These darn birds. You know what? If you guys are OG subscribers, you remember what the birds used to do to me in the summertime, so I'm glad they're gone. Alright, so now that that's all wrapped up, put the intake on, plug it in, make sure that everything works, there's no boost leaks before I put on the belly pan and the rest of the intake. Alright guys, so that's pretty much going to conclude the install video. Now I have to run these for a few days, check them out. I'm going to run them on all stock tunes, so that way I can sort of better inform you guys that are not tuned how they perform. Now the biggest difference on these guys is going to be really when I'm pushing the higher boost levels. So I'm not sure what kind of a difference it's going to make in my daily like map 0 drivability on the JB4, but who knows? Maybe I will see a change. Now as far as sound goes, it does sound, you do get a little bit more turbo noises coming from it. So that's really the only change I've seen so far, in just turning it on, giving it a few revs, things like that, letting it cool down. It doesn't seem to be any leaks right now, so that's good. Hopefully there isn't. I didn't see any turbo, boost drops. As far as ease of installation, I think I only ran through one small hiccup. The top where the turbo muffler sits, that coupler was just, one of the clamps that came on the kit was just, I think, a little bit too small, but no biggie. I pretty much just used one of the OEM ones from the bottom that I took off the throttle body, because you do get 2 new ones with that kit. So that was really the only hiccup I ran through. The instructions that DFG has on their page are actually really good. There's pictures and detailed instructions. Guys, I will have links to these products down below, so make sure you check them out at the Modded Euros page and also on the DFG website. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you very much again, DFG and Modded Euros, for sending this over. Sean, big shout out to you. I will probably be making a few other DFG videos, so not gonna say anything about that, but do stay tuned. See you in the next one. Out with the old, in with the new. Peace out.